Before anything else happens in this sacred moment, I want you to understand something very simple yet very deep. Healing begins with presence. Not noise, not effort, not struggle, but presence. And that is why we begin here by turning every part of ourselves toward the Holy Spirit, because nothing changes until He is invited in. Right now, wherever you are listening, you are not alone. You may feel alone. You may have walked through days where it seemed like no one understood your pain, your questions, or your silent tears. But I want you to know that the Holy Spirit is nearer than your breath. He is not distant. He is not unreachable. He is not waiting for you to be perfect. He is waiting for you to be open. So in this very moment, I encourage you, soften your heart. Let go of the resistance you may not even realize you are carrying. So many people want healing, but they forget that healing begins with surrender. Not control, not figuring everything out, but surrender. A simple yielding of the heart that says, I cannot do this alone anymore. And when you say that, even quietly in your spirit, something begins to shift. Because the Holy Spirit does not force His way into a closed heart. He gently enters where He is welcomed. And today He is being welcomed into every broken place, every tired thought, every wounded memory, every heavy burden you have been carrying for too long. I want you to imagine, not with your physical eyes, but with your spirit, that you are opening the door of your inner life. Not just the good parts, not just the strong parts, but even the hidden places you don't talk about. The disappointments, the unanswered prayers, the fear that sometimes visits you at night. And as you open that door, you are not met with judgment, you are met with love. Pure, gentle, restoring love. That is the presence of the Holy Spirit. He does not come to condemn you. He comes to heal you. He comes to restore what life has damaged. He comes to breathe where you feel empty. He comes to shine light where there has been darkness for too long. And right now, I want you to simply acknowledge Him. Not with complicated words, not with perfect sentences, but with a sincere heart. Even if it is just a whisper within you, Holy Spirit, I welcome you, because that invitation is powerful. It is the beginning of transformation. You may not feel anything dramatic at this moment, and that is all right. The Holy Spirit is not always found in emotion. Sometimes He is found in stillness. Sometimes He is found in peace you cannot explain. Sometimes He begins His work so quietly that you only realize later you are not the same anymore. So I encourage you to stay open. Do not rush this moment. Do not analyze it. Just receive it. Let your inner being become still enough to recognize that divine presence is here. Because when the Holy Spirit enters, He does not come alone. He brings healing with Him. He brings restoration with Him. He brings peace that reaches deeper than the mind can understand. And even now, He is gently touching places within you that have been neglected. Places that have been hurting quietly. Places that have been waiting for attention. You don't have to force anything. Just remain open. The Holy Spirit knows exactly where to work, exactly where to heal, exactly where to restore. This is the beginning of everything we are about to receive. Not striving, not effort, but invitation. A simple, sincere invitation that opens the door for divine restoration to begin. And as we remain in this awareness, we step fully into His presence. And now, having welcomed His presence, I want you to understand something deeply. Healing is not just a spiritual idea, it is a divine reality that reaches into the very body you live in. So many people separate the spiritual from the physical, but in the presence of the Holy Spirit, there is no separation. He touches what is seen and what is unseen. He restores what is broken in the body, just as He restores what is broken in the spirit. Right now, I want you to become aware of your body. Not with anxiety, not with fear, but with gentle awareness. If there is pain, acknowledge it without fear. If there is weakness, acknowledge it without discouragement. If there is something you have been carrying physically for a long time, do not hide it from the presence of God. Bring it into His light. Because the Holy Spirit is not limited by diagnosis. He is not restricted by what medicine has said. He is not bound by what time has done to your body. Where human strength ends, divine power begins. And even now that same healing presence is moving, not in imagination, but in reality, through every part of your physical being. I want you to understand something very important. Healing is not always loud. Sometimes it is like warmth spreading where there was pain. Sometimes it is like strength slowly returning where there was weakness. Sometimes it is like calmness entering a place that has been inflamed or troubled. The Holy Spirit knows every system of your body. He knows every cell, every nerve, every muscle, every hidden place of discomfort. And He is not distant from it. He is present within it. So I want you, even now, to release fear from your body. Fear itself can become a weight that holds pain in place. But when fear leaves, space is created for healing to flow. Let your breathing become steady. Let your heart become calm. Let your body stop resisting and begin receiving. There is no condition too small and no condition too severe for the healing power of God. Whether it is long-standing illness, sudden pain, chronic weakness, or something you have not even been able to fully explain, nothing is hidden from Him, and nothing is beyond His restoring power. I want you to picture something very simple in your spirit, not something complicated. Just a simple awareness that the same Holy Spirit who is with you now is gently moving through your body like light, not rushing, not forcing, but restoring, touching areas of pain, strengthening areas of weakness, bringing order where there has been disorder. And as this happens, do not try to control it. Do not try to analyze it. Just receive it. Because receiving is where healing begins to manifest. There are moments when healing feels instant, and there are moments when healing feels like a process unfolding. But both are the work of the same Spirit. What matters is that you remain open, because the Holy Spirit does not withdraw from a willing heart. He continues what He has begun. Even now, I want you to speak inwardly, not out of effort, but out of faith. My body is receiving healing. Let that not be a statement of hope alone, but a quiet agreement with divine presence. Because something is happening beyond what you can see. Restoration is not always visible in the moment it begins, but it begins nonetheless. Strength begins to return. Peace begins to settle. Balance begins to be restored. And as you remain in this awareness, understand that your body is not forgotten. It is not abandoned. It is not beyond touch. It is being held in the gentle, powerful care of the Holy Spirit, who restores completely. And in this sacred flow, healing is already at work within you. Now, I want you to bring your attention gently inward, because healing is not only for the body. There is something even deeper that often cries out quietly, and that is the mind. So many people look strong on the outside, yet inside their thoughts are restless, troubled, and heavy. And I want you to know that the Holy Spirit does not only heal what is physical, He brings order to the mind as well. Right now, I want you to become aware of your thoughts, not to judge them, not to fight them, but simply to notice them. Sometimes the mind carries what the heart has been through. Sometimes it replays old fears, old disappointments, old questions that were never answered. And without realizing it, people begin to live under the weight of those thoughts. But in this moment, something sacred is happening. The presence of the Holy Spirit is not only surrounding you, He is working within your inner world. And where there has been confusion, He brings clarity. Where there has been fear, He brings peace. Where there has been pressure, He brings stillness. I want you to understand something very clearly. Your mind was never meant to live in constant noise. It was created for peace. It was created for divine order. And when the Holy Spirit moves, He does not just comfort the surface of your emotions. He goes deeper. He begins to calm the storms within your thinking. So if your mind has been racing, slow down with Him. If your thoughts have been heavy, lay them down before Him. If you have been replaying things that hurt you, release them right now into His presence. You do not have to carry every thought that enters your mind. You do not have to believe every fear that appears. There is a higher peace available to you right now. And even now, I want you to notice something subtle. As you stay open, your inner world begins to shift. It may not be dramatic, but it is real. The tension begins to ease, the anxiety begins to loosen its grip, the mental heaviness begins to lift, even slightly, as divine peace enters where pressure once lived. The Holy Spirit brings a peace that does not depend on circumstances. It does not wait for everything around you to be perfect. It begins within you. Right in the middle of uncertainty, right in the middle of questions, right in the middle of what you do not yet understand. That is why it is called a peace that passes understanding. It does not make sense to the natural mind, but it is deeply real to the spirit. And I want you to allow that peace now. Do not resist it. Do not overthink it. Just let it come over your thoughts like a gentle stillness. It is as if the noise of the mind begins to quiet, not by force but by presence. The Holy Spirit does not shout over your thoughts. He gently replaces them with calm assurance. You may have carried anxiety for a long time. You may have become familiar with overthinking, worry, or mental fatigue, but that is not your true state. That is not your divine design. And right now there is a restoration happening in your thinking. The mind is being realigned with peace. The thoughts are being brought into stillness. The inner chaos is beginning to settle. Even now, I want you to breathe slowly and simply receive this. My mind is being healed. Let that truth go deeper than emotion. Let it settle into the core of your awareness. Because the Holy Spirit is not only touching what you feel, He is renewing how you think. He is bringing light into places where darkness tried to settle. He is bringing order into places that felt scattered. He is bringing rest into a mind that has been too tired for too long. And as you remain in this presence, you begin to realize something beautiful. Peace is not far away. It is here. It is working. It is restoring you even now. And in this quiet, sacred renewal, your mind is coming into divine peace. Now I want you to go even deeper with me, beyond the body and beyond the mind, into the very center of who you are, the soul. Because there is a place within every person that is not touched by outward success, not healed by distraction, not satisfied by anything this world can offer. It is the inner life, the soul, the place where emotions are carried, where wounds are stored, and where identity is shaped. And I want you to understand something very tender and very real. Many people are walking around with a wounded soul and do not even realize it. They smile, they function, they continue their daily lives, but deep inside there are places that feel empty, broken, or forgotten. And no human effort can fully restore that inner place. Only the Holy Spirit can reach that deep. Right now, I want you to stop and become aware of your inner being. Not your thoughts, not your body, but that deeper place where you feel things most intensely. That is your soul, and I want you to bring it into the light of God's presence. Do not hide it. Do not dress it up. Just bring it as it is, because the Holy Spirit does not come to you based on your perfection. He comes to you in your honesty. He comes where there is openness. He comes where there is surrender. And right now, He is gently moving into those inner places where pain has been stored for years, sometimes without words, sometimes without explanation. There are things that happen to you that you may never have fully processed. There are disappointments that shaped how you see yourself. There are moments that left emotional marks that time alone could not erase. And in the presence of the Holy Spirit, none of that is ignored. It is gently touched. It is carefully healed. It is lovingly restored. I want you to understand that your soul is not forgotten. Even if you have felt overlooked by people, you have never been overlooked by God. And even now there is a healing that is going deeper than surface comfort. It is reaching into identity. It is reaching into memory. It is reaching into those quiet inner places where tears have been shed in silence. And as this presence moves within you, something very sacred begins to happen. Emotional heaviness begins to loosen. Inner brokenness begins to soften. The weight of past sorrow begins to lift, not all at once, but gently, as if something is being lifted from within. The Holy Spirit is not rushing this process. He is not forcing anything. He is restoring slowly, deeply and completely. Because true healing of the soul is not just about removing pain, it is about rebuilding wholeness. It is about bringing your inner life back into alignment with peace, love, and divine truth. And I want you to receive this very personally. You are not what hurt you. You are not what disappointed you. You are not what others spoke over you in moments of weakness or misunderstanding. There is a deeper truth about you, and the Holy Spirit is bringing you back into that truth. Even now, let yourself release what you have been carrying emotionally. You do not have to explain it all. You do not have to understand it all. Just let it go into His presence, because He is able to hold what you cannot carry anymore. And as you do, something begins to shift in your inner world. Peace begins to settle where sorrow once lived. Comfort begins to rise where grief once stayed. Light begins to enter places that felt dark for a long time. This is the healing of the soul, not rushed, not forced, but deeply real. And it is happening now in the presence of the Holy Spirit, who restores what life has touched too deeply. And in this sacred work within you, your soul is being made whole again. Now, as we remain in this sacred awareness, I want you to understand something very important. Healing is not only about what is added to your life, it is also about what is removed. There are burdens people carry for years, sometimes without even realizing how heavy they have become. Emotional chains, spiritual weights, inner struggles that quietly shape how a person thinks, feels, and lives. And in the presence of the Holy Spirit, those things do not remain untouched. Because He is not only a comforter, He is a liberator. He brings freedom where there has been captivity. He brings release where there has been pressure. He brings light where there has been hidden bondage. Right now, I want you to become honest within yourself. Not to expose yourself to people, not to speak out loud, but simply to acknowledge before God what you have been carrying. There are things that weigh on the soul even when the body appears fine. Stress that does not leave. Guilt that quietly returns. Fear that lingers in the background. Habits that feel stronger than willpower. Sadness that has no clear beginning or ending. And I want you to know something very clear. None of these things are too strong for the Holy Spirit. Nothing that has held you can resist His presence when you are willing to be free. Because freedom is not something you achieve by struggle, it is something you receive in surrender. So right now I want you to let go inwardly, not by force but by agreement. Agreement that you were not created to be bound. Agreement that you were not created to live under constant pressure. Agreement that your spirit was meant for freedom, peace, and divine alignment. And as you do that, something begins to shift in the unseen realm of your life. The Holy Spirit begins to gently loosen what has been holding you, not violently, not harshly, but with perfect divine authority and perfect divine love. He does not break you to free you, he restores you into freedom. There are emotional chains that begin in the mind but settle into the heart. Chains of fear that say, what if things go wrong again? Chains of guilt that say, you should have done better. Chains of anxiety that constantly prepare for the worst. Chains of spiritual heaviness that make prayer feel difficult and peace feel far away. But right now, in this very moment, there is a divine breaking of those patterns. Not by your effort, but by his presence. Because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And that liberty is not just a concept, it is a living reality entering your inner life. Even now, I want you to breathe slowly and let your inner being loosen its grip on what it has been holding. You do not have to fight every battle in your own strength. You do not have to carry every burden into tomorrow. There is a release available right now in the presence of God. And I want you to understand something very deeply. Freedom is not just the absence of something, it is the presence of something greater. When the Holy Spirit removes heaviness, he replaces it with peace. When he removes fear, he replaces it with trust. When he removes bondage, he replaces it with spiritual strength. So even now there is a divine exchange taking place. What you have carried is being lifted. What has weighed you down is being released. What has kept your spirit bound is being broken by the gentle but powerful hand of God. And you may not see it with your eyes, but you can sense it within. A lightness begins to enter where heaviness once lived. A calm begins to settle where tension once ruled. A quiet strength begins to rise where weakness once dominated. This is not imagination. This is the work of the Holy Spirit restoring freedom to your inner life. He is not finished with you. He is not done with you. He is actively bringing you out of what has held you into what he has prepared for you. And as you remain open, you begin to realize something powerful. You are not bound anymore. You are being released, you are being restored, and you are being made free. And now we come into a very sacred realization together, because everything the Holy Spirit has done up to this moment is not meant to stop here. Healing is never meant to remain an experience alone. It is meant to become a way of life. It is meant to carry you forward. It is meant to shape how you live, how you think, how you walk, and how you remain in peace. So I want you to understand something very clearly. You are not only being touched in this moment, you are being made whole. And wholeness is not a temporary feeling. It is a settled condition of the spirit that begins to influence every part of your life. Now, as you stand in this awareness, I want you to see yourself differently. Not as someone who is constantly trying to survive, but as someone who is learning to live in divine peace. Because peace is not something that only visits you in moments of prayer. It is something the Holy Spirit plants within you so that you can walk in it daily. And I want you to realize something very important. The same presence that has begun healing your body, calming your mind, restoring your soul, and breaking your bondages is not leaving you. He does not come and go like human emotions. He remains, he abides, he continues his work in those who remain open. So now the invitation is not only to receive, but to remain, to walk, to live, to continue in what has been started within you. And I want you to picture something very simple in your spirit. Your life not as scattered pieces, not as broken fragments, but as something being gently gathered together by the hand of God. The body strengthened, the mind settled, the soul restored, and now the entire life being brought into alignment with peace. This is what it means to walk in wholeness. It is not the absence of challenges, but the presence of divine stability within you. It is not that storms never come, but that they no longer define you. Because something stronger lives within you now. And I want you to know that this peace is not fragile. It is not easily broken. It is not dependent on circumstances. It is anchored in the presence of the Holy Spirit, who has begun a work that he intends to continue. So even when you leave this moment, you do not leave empty. You leave carrying something quiet, something strong, something alive within you. A peace that will remind you, a presence that will steady you, a strength that will rise within you when you need it most. And I want you to understand this very gently. Your life is not meant to return to confusion. Your mind is not meant to return to chaos. Your heart is not meant to return to brokenness. You have been touched by something higher, and that touch is meant to remain active within you. So walk differently now. Not in fear, but in trust. Not in heaviness, but in lightness. Not in uncertainty, but in quiet assurance that the Holy Spirit is still with you, still guiding you, still holding you. And as you continue forward in life, let gratitude become your posture. Let awareness of his presence become your strength. Let peace become your foundation, because what has begun in you is not temporary, it is transformational. And now, as you stand in this place of restoration, I want you to simply receive the fullness of it. You are being made whole, and you will walk in the peace of the Holy Spirit.